So, as we recognize the source of all, Spirit, God, the presence, the infinite supply of life, knowing that all are present and always have been. With the source of love, with the source of life, we bless and give thanks for the speaker, our teachers, the tech staff, our greeter in the choir, our choir director, and especially our congregation. Please help me anchor this by saying, and so it is. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Rev Don and I are acutely aware of what we are standing between you and the food. So, we're going to try and get through this. And so this morning, as always, as every Sunday, we take that moment to just recognize all spiritual paths. So our candlelighter, Claire. So we're an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community, and that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. So we begin the ceremony that celebrates this oneness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths come from the one universal presence, which we call Spirit. So let us begin the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of pristine spirituality. Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. Of course, New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And of course, our last candle is the healing candle of love. And we invite you at home as well as here, in the stillness of your own mind, to bring to awareness the names of anyone that you wish to be included in this healing flame of love and of light. Now that our flames of faith are fully lighted, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. Thank you, Claire. You're welcome. So our inspirational quote for today comes from the Science of Mind textbook. Page 112. Man is one with everything physical in the physical world, one with the soul of the universe in the subjective world, and one with the Spirit of God in the conscious world.
The Spirit is both an overdwelling and indwelling presence. We are immersed in it, and it flows through us as our very life. Again, the Spirit, God, Yahweh, the universe, the thing itself, whatever name you assign to your higher power, that thing is both an overdwelling dwelling, and an indwelling presence. Presence with a capital P. We are immersed in it, capital I. We are immersed in spirit. We are immersed in the universe. And it, capital I, flows through us as our very life. Those are the words of Ernest Holmes from nearly 100 years ago. A lot of the terminology and the words used by Holmes are dated, but the principles behind them are everlasting because they are the things that are truth, capital T, truth, that go on and on forever. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for coming out today and joining us on this chilly Sunday before Thanksgiving. I am encouraged by everyone who is here today. You brave souls, thank you for coming. I just -3 at my house this morning. Joy didn't spend a lot of time outside today. She came right back in. And thank you to all of you who are watching either live or later. It is indeed an honor to be invited into your lives. The monthly theme for November is the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. The title of my talk today is so original. It is the sacred and the profane. And I have two major points. Once again, really original, the sacred and the profane. Definition, start off with the sacred. What do we mean? This is from the Oxford Dictionary. Means connected with God or gods. Dedicated to a religious purpose. Deserving of veneration. And religious as opposed to secular. Well, I'm not sure exactly what all that really means. We've got some kind of talk about it a little bit, but what does it really mean? So we say it means connected with God. What do we mean by that connection? The sacred as connection. Our connection to God, Spirit, the universe, is easier while on the meditation cushion and when we feel connected to all. And I was trying to come up with a way to describe that feeling that is in deep meditation, to describe it as I feel it in my heart and my bones. And I came across this. It's an excerpt from a book called Developing Ecological Consciousness by a guy by the name of Christopher Yuill. Consider the experience of 8-year-old Miranda, who sauntered into the ocean one summer day while Mark, her father, looked on. Miranda stood in the water up to her waist, just moving back and forth with the waves. 10 or 15 minutes passed, and Mark thought that her eyes were closed. 30 minutes went by, and she was still swaying in the gentle surf. In the same spot. After an hour, Mark found himself swaying with her as he sat and watched from the beach. It was as if she were in some sort of a trance. He wanted to make sure that she was all right. Is this some kind of seizure? Does she have enough sunscreen on? He wondered, but he managed not to intrude. It was nearly an hour and a half before she came out of the water, absolutely glowing and peaceful. She sat down next to him without a word. After a few minutes, he managed to gently ask her what she had been doing. I was in the water, she said softly. The water, he repeated. Yeah, it was amazing. I was the water. I love it, and it loves me. And that kind of, for me, describes that feeling of when we are in touch with that higher power, God, Spirit, the universe, the thing itself. But that's not the only time that we can feel that connection. That connection is available to us like our prayer line 24/7. A few weeks ago, when our topic was paradoxes, and we talked about Brother Lawrence and how he could feel that connection while doing ordinary things, while he was repairing sandals, while he was chopping food for the meal, washing dishes. And it is in those moments that he could find it. And that is the sacred as connection to our higher power. But then there is the sacred as a mindset, as a way of thinking, as a way of how we think and how we are. And it comes to mind also from last month, that concept of Januszian thinking, where we can see both sides, where we can see A and B at the same time. It doesn't have to be A or B. Next, we can see the sacred as action. And once again, I was stumped in trying to find something to demonstrate the sacred as action when Ann said, "Oh, wow, I just got this really great post on Facebook. I read this Facebook post. This is awesome, Don. You need to read that." So I had to borrow her phone. I don't even know how to get into Facebook, but I got this. This is from one of our congregants, Judith Mack. This afternoon, I helped Duke and his daughter, Malia, with a spontaneous pop-up at Cuddy Park. Duke had gotten a large amount of donated eggs, and he wanted to make eggy fried rice with it. It was a crazy morning driving on the road. Well, we know that. But I took one for the team since Kerrygold was on sale at Costco. I walked into a killer clearance sale of my favorite merino wool shirts for $2 each. They're usually $18. Since they had tons, I grabbed a good amount in a variety of sizes for folks who might need them. Merino wool is the best for cold weather, and I always wear it when I walk, which is frequent. And if anybody knows walking, it's Judith. Headed to Cuddy Park a bit later, and we set up the food production line. Duke on the line whipping up buttery fried rice with eggs, hot toasted Fire Island bread. I served the good quality Kaladi Brothers coffee, my family's personal favorite. A shout out to both. And that is a shout out. And I want to emphasize that Kaladi Brothers giving away good coffee to help those. And Fire Island bread. I mean, it's good stuff, and it's good that they support our entire community. Businesses that continue to spread their generosity through our Anchorage community. We were jamming, talking and feeding the campers. We had a large amount of donations. We had heavy coats and neck and hand warmers, hats, gloves, socks, gallons of water. Malia mostly worked the donation section out of the back of my Highlander. Campers were gracious and polite, visiting while waiting for food to cook. Almost everyone was underdressed and cold in the 23-degree weather, and you can imagine what they are at -3 today. And then a camper spotted a young man walking up and said, "That man doesn't have shoes. Do you have any shoes for him?" On his feet, he wore a thin pair of socks wrapped in plastic bags. I can't tell you how this shook my world. It was below freezing and he had no shoes. I don't care about his circumstances. He had no shoes. No shoes. Malia got a pair of donated sorrel boots out of the back of my car and helped him put them on. They fit and hopefully he won't lose any toes. There's a reason that I never watch the news. My heart breaks easily. So I ask you, friends, do you have unused, clean winter coats, hats, boots, socks, or gloves? We had about 8 coats today, and they were all gratefully accepted. We ran out of gloves and hats. You can drop off at my house or I can pick up. Please make sure everything is cleanish, especially need gloves. I like to keep a few pairs in my car with hand warmers tucked in. Last fall, I went through my coats. I had about 15, not really outrageous for Alaska. I mean, we all have a lot of coats. You need your walking coat, snowblowing coat, fishing coat, raincoat, everyday coat, dressy coat. I kept 6 and donated the rest, and I don't miss them. Please feel free to message me if you have anything that will help. Someone donated those sorrels, and look what a difference it made today. You see, that is spirit in action. That is the sacred moving through each and every one of us. And so today, I invite all of you, whether you're here right here now, whether you're watching live or later, to join us in supporting Judith in that Mac. We all have too many coats. We all have things that we can do. Do you remember last year when Camille did the thing that she did with a gentleman with no gloves, and how she was able to help? We can do that again, and we can do it right now. So I am going to put up a box in the back of the sanctuary, and I invite you to stop by during the week or stop by next Sunday and bring an extra coat, or bring some socks, bring some gloves, bring some warmers. Whatever you can spare, bring it next week. And let's support this effort. And so typical of what this is and what Judith is and does, I asked permission to use this story, and she said yes. But you know, Shirley May has her project that she does, and she went on to list all the good things that Shirley May is doing now too. We can do all of this. Join us. The sacred as action. And lastly, the sacred as peace. Last week, Kaleem gave us a great talk. Out there is here. And he told 2 supporting stories of the master weaver who taught us to weave peace into the fabric of our lives. And then the story of the master programmer who wove a digital tapestry of peace. And they both taught us that peace is not a destination, but a creation. And if you have not had the opportunity to watch last week's talk, I encourage you to either go to Facebook and watch the entire service on it, or if nothing else, go to YouTube, and you can Google Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. Is it Google when you're YouTube? I don't know if that's what it is. Google has become a word. I mean, it's a thing. It's an actual verb. But Google our name and on YouTube, and it will take you to our talks, and look for Kaleem's talk from last week. It is powerful. It is relevant to today. It is so good. One of the things that Kaleem did, he likes to use acronyms, and I'm not real good with using them, but I was so taken with his talk that I took notes. And his acronym was PEACE. The whole thing's talk, as you can get it, was about peace. P is pray and practice the presence. E, engage and evolve. A, affirm and act. C, comfort and compassion. And the last E, educate and evolve. and engagement. The very things that we're talking about today as the activity of the sacred in action in our lives. And so my talk today really is a call to action. It's a call to step into that and to support this. Okay, point number 2. Okay, we're on time. The profane. Once again, we return to the Oxford Dictionary. What is the definition of the profane? And this is awesome. It is secular, not religious or spiritual. So these two definitions are referring to each other. What we are is not that. And they each say that. The profane is not secular. It is not religious or spiritual. And the sacred means not profane. So what do we mean? It's not religious or not necessarily very spiritual. Sometimes I think I fall into that. Maybe I'm pretty profane. I don't know. Its antonym is sacred. As I looked to get this around, I came across from Reverend Karen Frost. She used to be the associate minister at CSL Dallas, and she's out on her own now. I'm not sure what all, I haven't kept up with her, but brilliant lady. And this is from Karen Frost. The profane invites us to dive deeper into our understanding of the oneness of life. The concept of profanity changes from culture to culture. So what we may consider to be profanity here may be something totally different in another culture. I can tell you that there are things in America that are quite humorous to the rest of the world. And there are things that we consider rather shocking, which are common. And all you have to do is walk through Spain, stay in at hostels, and see the bathroom arrangements and the shower arrangements until you learn to drop your concerns about the human body. One of the examples that I discovered in here, and I think it's really good. And one of my favorite emojis, and I got it on my phone, is thumbs up. Somebody does something, that's really cool. Oh yeah, thumbs up. We do that in America all the time. Oh boy, in the Middle East, that is the same as raising another finger is in the United States. So our definitions of profanity can change with a various culture. Oh, and I got to learn this. Lizzo, in the song Truth Hurts, Lizzo raps, I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm a 100% that bitch. Lizzo is a global phenomenon who redefines sexuality, cultural standards of beauty, and self-expression. She reframes what it means to be a bitch. Songs like Good as Hell inspire people around the world to kick off your shoes, take a deep breath, time to focus on you. Lizzo is known for sharing affirmations at her concerts and inviting attendees to bring self-care practices into their week. She suggests that they go home, look in the mirror, and say, I love you. You are beautiful and you can do anything. Artists like Lizzo invite us to see the sacred in the profane. And how many of our classes have one of the things that we do, stand in front of the mirror and say, I love you, you are beautiful and you can do anything? God, we ought to recruit Lizzo. Okay, today, we're getting closer to the food. I better get this short. When we shake off the old ideas of what constitutes spirituality, we can make room for sacred to encompass the profane. our sacred can overtake the profane. Expanding our own understanding of the profane invites subcultures often excluded from spiritual communities to participate. If we are truly creating a world that works for everyone, it's important to host and support events and activities that appeal to people of all walks of life. We are being inspired to step out of our comfort zones and invite in people who have different ways of thinking. We're invited to talk about our exploration of how we define the profane. The discussions that we have on this topic in our spiritual center right this day as we give thanks for all that we have and we share food allows for all of us to expand our way of thinking and create more inclusive spiritual community. And so with this idea of the sacred, with this concept that infinite creative force that is within each and every one of us, that we can step into prayer and simply recognize that infinite force is in, around, and through each and every one of us. And that as we go through life, we encounter things that could be problems, things that are problems. We don't deny conditions, but what we know is there is a power in the universe that's greater than we are. And it can help guide us through the most difficult of times, through health challenges, through financial challenges, through challenges of separation from God and separation from one another. And know that behind it all, that infinite force is for us. And so we just give thanks, we let it go, we let it be, and so it is.